All right, strap in, everyone, because today we are going deep into the 13th ArtsIT Annual International Conference on arts and technology, interactivity, and game creation.
Yeah, this one was a big one.
Huge, it really was.
It was held at NYU Abu Dhabi just last month, and it was put on by the European Alliance for Innovation.
Spearheaded by Dr. Anthony Brooks.
Tony.
Yeah, a lot of folks just call him Tony.
Right.
And you sent me a ton of articles and research about it. I have to say, some of this stuff is pretty out there.
Well, it is the intersection of art and cutting-edge tech. You're going to get some wild ideas there.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, Tony's always been kind of a boundary pusher, right?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Right.
But this ArtsIT event, it seems like he's really taking things to a whole other level.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
To present all sorts of cutting-edge work on how digital media and XR and games,
All the good stuff.
and AI, all that stuff is being used in the arts these days.
It really is.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we have this giant stack of research papers from the conference to dig through.
Oh, yeah.
To figure out what was actually important there and what was interesting.
And there's a lot of really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, super interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's start with this question. Can AI be more than just a tool for artists? Can it be a creative partner?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is the question. Like, there was this one study at the conference called Flute X GPT,
Okay.
and it's about this music tutoring app that uses AI
I saw that work.
as a robot music teacher.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It is pretty wild.
Yeah.
So imagine this. You are learning to play the flute,
Oh.
and this AI robot is listening to you play.
It's like having your own personal flute instructor.
Right.
It's amazing.
But like 24/7.
Yeah. And it can tell you exactly what you need to improve.
And it adapts to you.
Yeah, it adapts to your learning style and everything,
Yeah, it tailors the lesson.
Gives you feedback through these like haptic gloves too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the gloves.
Yeah, it's really wild.
So it's not just telling you. It's like
it's like feeling it, yeah.
it's getting in there with you.
It's wild.
Okay, but like, is that really interactive? Or is it just like a fancy pre-programmed system?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the debate, isn't it?
It is?
Like, it's adaptive, which is amazing,
Yeah.
but is that really creativity? Right.
Or is it just clever programming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the answer, but I think it's a question worth asking.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now let's move on to museums, because AI is apparently shaking things up there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
So some researchers designed this interactive station for a Renaissance altar that uses AI to, like, create different interpretations of biblical stories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, you're standing there in front of this, like, centuries-old artwork.
Yeah.
And then you're hearing the biblical story it depicts, but, like, reimagined.
Reimagine how?
Well, they're rewritten in all these different genres.
Oh, okay.
Like, you could hear it as science fiction or, like, a romance.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so it's like seeing art with fresh eyes.
Definitely.
But I can't help but wonder, are we risking, like, losing something when we bring AI into these creative processes?
What do you mean?
Like that human touch.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I don't know, it's something to think about as we kind of dig into all this.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we've seen AI step into the role of teacher.
Right.
And now storyteller.
Yeah.
But what about immersive experience?
I was wondering when we were going to get to that VR, AR, all that.
The conference was buzzing with presentations about like how VR and AR are changing how we experience art and culture.
For sure.
And I think one of the coolest projects was this educational escape room called The Curse of Medusa.
Oh, yeah. What was that one about?
So it uses a bunch of different technologies.
Huh?
Like IoT and animation,
All right.
and even Amazon Alexa,
Oh.
to teach people about a specific historical theme.
So, like, instead of reading about history in a textbook,
Exactly.
you're dropped right in the middle of it.
Yeah, you have to, like, solve puzzles
Oh, wow.
and overcome challenges and interact with the environment to learn.
That's really cool.
It's a living, breathing history lesson.
It makes you wonder, what if all history lessons were like that?
Oh my gosh, right?
That'd be amazing.
Would we have way more people who, like, actually love history?
Probably.
Who knows? But yeah, I'm adding that to my list of must-try experiences.
Definitely.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about AI as a collaborator
Right.
and immersive experiences.
Yes.
But what happens when machines don't just create art, but perform it alongside humans?
Ooh, now we're getting into it.
Yeah, the conference had a whole theme dedicated to this. It was
What?
called, like, Human-Machine Collaboration and Performance.
Kitschy.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah.
So one paper that really dug into this was called Being the Artificial Player.
Okay.
It focuses on, like, best practices for human-machine music improvisation.
So like humans and machines jamming together.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they highlighted this AI system called Somax 2.
What's that?
So imagine a jazz band jamming on stage.
Okay.
But one of the musicians is an AI.
Whoa.
So Max 2 listens to what the human musicians are playing.
Analyzes it in real time
Yeah.
and generates its own improvisations.
Wow, so it's like a real musical conversation.
It is, yeah.
That's wild.
It's like, who's actually composing the music in that moment?
I don't know.
It's a good question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and speaking of blurring lines, another study looked at human dance collaborative robot interaction.
Oh, robots dancing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The robot isn't leading.
Huh.
It's following.
Oh, that's cool.
It's tracking the human dancer's movements.
So it's like a perfectly synchronized dance partner.
Yeah, but one that can also throw in unexpected movements and rhythms.
That's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries of what we think of as dance.
Totally.
That's awesome.
Okay, now let's shift gears for a second
Okay.
and talk about something a little more practical.
All right.
But still very important.
Ugh.
Technology's role in preserving cultural heritage.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, preserving culture is vital in our, rapidly changing world.
Yeah, for sure.
One project that stood out to me was this game called Making Besh Barmak.
What is Bishbarmak?
It's a traditional Central Asian dish,
Okay.
and the game teaches you how to make it.
So like a virtual cooking class.
Yeah, exactly, but with a cultural twist.
I like it.
It's a great way to get people engaged with their cultural heritage.
Yeah, especially younger generations.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, and remember, ADA, the Archive of Digital Art we were talking about before.
yeah. Yeah. What about it?
Well, they presented on their relaunch, which is huge news for anyone into media art.
Oh, right, because it's like a treasure trove of information, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But it's not just like a static collection.
Right.
They have artists and scholars and institutions involved in its development.
And they're always adding new stuff, right?
Yeah, constantly.
Trying to find new ways to make it engaging.
Exactly.
And didn't they say something about visualization tools?
Yeah, they're using these really amazing visualization tools that make exploring the archive feel like you're navigating a galaxy of digital art.
That's so cool.
It's really incredible.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
You do. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like a way to make this super valuable resource accessible to everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, not just experts.
Yeah.
Okay, let's circle back to AI for a minute.
Right.
We talked a lot about its creative potential, but what about its impact on, design education?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. How are design schools preparing students for a future where AI is, a major part of the design process?
Yeah, because it's not just about knowing the software, right?
Exactly.
It's about something bigger.
Yeah, and one paper really went deep on this, exploring the challenges of teaching design in this increasingly AI-driven world.
Makes sense.
And they argued that we need to go beyond teaching students just, how to use AI tools.
Right.
It's about fostering this mindset of, collaboration.
Between humans and machines.
Yes.
That's cool.
Students need to understand both AI's strengths and its limitations.
Yeah,
And learn how to work alongside it to make cool stuff.
I like that.
Yeah, it's about viewing AI as a partner in the design process, not a replacement.
Definitely.
And the paper also talked about ethics in AI-driven design.
Oh, of course.
Students need to consider the potential impact of their designs on people and society as a whole.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's not just about making something that looks cool. It's about, the bigger picture.
The ethical implications.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's important.
It sounds like design education is undergoing this big shift, and it's fascinating to see how schools are adapting to the rise of AI.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, switching gears again, because this next study caught my eye. It was about facial expressions and web meetings.
Oh, interesting.
Something we all deal with these days.
For sure.
So this study looked at using facial expression deformation in web meetings.
Facial expression, what?
Deformation.
Okay.
So it's basically making someone appear to be smiling even if they're not actually feeling that way, to try and reduce communication anxiety.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and create a more positive atmosphere.
I don't know. That sounds kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a controversial idea,
It feels a little manipulative, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
Like, on the one hand, it could be good for people with social anxiety,
Right.
but it also raises these ethical questions about manipulating people's appearance and emotions online.
For sure. It's a reminder that with every new technology, we need to carefully consider the consequences.
Absolutely, the good and the bad. It's interesting you bring that up about potential consequences, because there was another study we looked at that used music in a really sensitive context
Okay.
to increase empathy for immigrant children.
Oh, wow. That sounds intense.
It was.
So how did they do that?
Well, they showed participants these videos of immigrant children sharing their personal stories,
Okay.
but some participants watched the videos with music playing in the background, while others watched in silence.
Interesting. And what happened?
The people who listened to music while they watched the videos reported feeling a lot more empathy.
Really?
Yeah.
And understanding towards the children?
Heavy sack.
That's incredible. Like, music can really break down barriers
But it can.
and create a sense of shared humanity, you know?
Absolutely.
It's powerful.
It is.
It makes you wonder if this could be used in schools, you know, to help foster more empathy and understanding between students from different backgrounds.
That's a great idea.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely something worth exploring further.
Okay, let's get back to AI for a sec.
Okay.
We've talked about its potential as a creative partner.
Right.
But what about its ability to generate, like, really complex music?
Well, one research team at the conference was focused on using AI to generate multi-track music.
So not just, like, a simple melody.
No, like full-blown songs with multiple instruments and layers.
Whoa, so an AI could write a symphony?
Potentially, yeah.
Or create personalized soundtracks for our lives.
Mind-blowing, right?
It really is, but I imagine there are some ethical considerations with that too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how do we ensure fair compensation for human musicians if AI is creating all the music?
Yeah, and who owns the copyright for AI-generated music?
Exactly. Big question.
Big question.
Okay, you mentioned virtual field trips earlier.
Right.
Can you tell me more about how VR is being used in education?
Yeah, so one study looked at the impact of virtual field trips on student learning.
Okay.
They compared taking kids on actual field trips to museums and historical sites versus using VR to create virtual field trips.
So instead of a bus, you're strapping on a VR headset.
Exactly.
And what do they find?
The students who experienced the virtual field trips learned just as much as the ones who went on the actual field trips.
Wow, that's incredible, especially for students who might not have the resources for traditional field trips.
Absolutely. VR can really democratize access to educational experiences.
That's amazing.
It also opens up opportunities to explore places that are hard to get to in real life.
Or dangerous.
Right.
Wow, the future of education is going to be wild.
I know, right?
Speaking of the future, did any of the research look at how technology can improve well-being and mindfulness?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There were a bunch of studies on that.
Like what?
Well, one that stood out was about using VR meditation for adults with ADHD.
VR meditation.
Yeah, they designed this adaptive VR experience that uses biofeedback
Okay,
to track the user's attention levels,
gotcha.
and then it adjusts the virtual environment accordingly.
Wow, so it's like a personalized meditation coach.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's awesome.
And the results were really promising, too.
Really?
Yeah, people who used the VR meditation saw reductions in negative feelings and improvements in attention.
It sounds like VR can be a really valuable tool for mental health.
I think so, too. One study explored using haptic feedback to enhance the feeling of touch in VR.
So you could actually, like, feel the objects in a virtual world.
Exactly. Experience different textures, sensations.
Wow, that would be amazing. Well, and then there's that other one, the one that, frankly, kind of scared me a little bit.
Project Chimera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Project Chimera. That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Like, what even is that?
So it's arguably the most ambitious project going on at ArtsIT.
Okay.
It's basically, it's a platform for real-time collaborative art.
Yep.
Between, get this, artists and AI working together.
So hold on. The AI isn't just, like, spitting out art on its own.
Yep.
There are actual human artists.
Involved, yeah.
And they're, like, what, co-creating or something?
Exactly. And that's where things get really, really interesting. The article mentioned that they're developing a neural network, right?
Yeah.
And this network can actually learn from the artist's input in real time. It adapts its style, its creative decisions based on what the artist is doing.
So the line is, like, totally blurred between like human and machine.
Yeah, I think that's the safe way to put it. It's a dance
Yeah.
between human creativity and artificial intelligence, each one influencing the other.
So then who's the artist? Like who gets credit for the work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, that's a philosophical debate we could have for hours.
Yeah. Well, clearly ArtsIT is way more than just, you know, AI generated pretty pictures.
Oh, absolutely.
This is something else entirely.
It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's about exploring the potential of AI to expand artistic expression, to change how we see and experience art, maybe even redefine what it means to be an artist in this crazy age of AI.
Yeah. That's a lot to take in.
It is.
So what would you say is the biggest takeaway from all this?
That's a tough one. But I think for me, it's the idea of collaboration.
Yeah.
It's not about AI replacing artists. It's about AI becoming a tool, a partner in the creative process and pushing those boundaries, opening up new possibilities for art.
Yeah. Like Tony is building a bridge between two worlds that most people think are completely separate
Exactly.
and showing us what can happen when they come together.
It's pretty exciting stuff.
It is. And I think that leads perfectly into something for all of you listening to consider. You know, if art is a reflection of humanity, right?
Yeah.
Then what does it mean when AI starts to participate in that reflection? That's something to think about, Sky.
Definitely.
Okay, and before we wrap up, I want to touch on something we talked about before,
Sure.
preserving media art.
Right.
It sounds like there were some really interesting discussions about that at the conference.
There were.
So one paper talked about the challenges of archiving participatory media art, which can be really hard to capture. I can imagine it's so interactive and often temporary.
Exactly. So researchers are looking at new ways to preserve it. Things like video recordings, interviews with the artists,
Okay.
even creating interactive simulations to try and capture the essence of the original work.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It is.
Okay, last question. Did any of the research explore how technology can be used to promote social connection and kindness?
Oh, yeah, definitely. One study looked at that in a really fun way.
Okay, tell me.
They created a system that uses public video cameras and AI to encourage positive body language in public spaces.
Hold on, so it's like analyzing people's body language as they walk down the street.
Well, kind of, yeah.
But it's not about surveillance, right?
No, it's about encouraging positive interactions.
Okay.
The system looks for things like smiles, waves, friendly gestures, and it rewards people for being kind.
So it's like a game that encourages people to be more mindful and friendly.
Exactly.
I love that.
It's a great example of how technology can nudge us towards more positive social behaviors.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive into the ArtsIT conference. It's clear that technology is having a huge impact on how we create, experience, and think about art.
Absolutely.
And it's exciting to see all the possibilities, but also important to consider the challenges.
For sure.
As we move forward, it's crucial to approach these advancements with both curiosity and a critical eye, ensuring that technology empowers artists, promotes understanding, and contributes to a more just and equitable world.
I completely agree.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
It was my pleasure.
We hope it sparked your imagination and left you thinking about all the incredible ways art and technology can intersect to shape our world.
And who knows, maybe you listening right now will be the one to create the next groundbreaking innovation at the intersection of art and tech.
That's a great thought to end on.
I thought so.
Until next time, stay curious.